Hey, everybody, welcome to the presentation today. We are talking about choir and how to keep your choirs rehearsing while we're in COVID 19. I've seen several posts and sat through several sessions of things about why we can't sing, but this session is about how we can keep the choir singing and keep going. I have a brand new setup. If you've been following me, you'll notice that this room is not where I normally film at. So I have a brand new setup. If at any time you cannot hear me, please type it in the comments. That way I can know if I need to be louder or softer for you. Also, any questions that you may have, please type them in the comments, and I will have a question and answer period where we will address all of your questions and make sure that you get things answered. This particular workshop is the first one of a series of workshops. So what I want to do is be a part of your world and be exactly what you need as far as choirs and things of that nature. So whenever you have a question, make sure you put in a chat. And before we get started, I need you to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please go ahead and click like and subscribe to this channel. That way you can be in touch with everything that I do, all things choir, all things music related. But that way you can stay in contact with me. So when we're having another session, you can already be on. Okay? I am a person of order. I like to start on time. I like to end on time. And I do not want to waste your time. It is 6:01, so let's get started. All right, so today's presentation is keeping your choir rehearsing and engaged. This choir workshop is presented by myself, Maria A. Ellis, from the Conductor.com brand. That is my own brand. And I want to talk to you about choirs and what we can be doing. But first, what I want to do is just tell you a little bit about myself. And tell you about the presentation. So today we're going to go through who I am. Some of you know me, some of you may not know me. I want to talk about the 3 E's, talk about what we know about singing and COVID-19, how to keep your choir rehearsing, the recipe for a good rehearsal. We'll do a warm-up. I'll talk about how to navigate through a Zoom rehearsal. I'll wrap it all up, and then I'll take your questions, okay? So in order to be respectful of your time, 6:02, here we go. Who is Maria A. Ellis? Well, that's me. Just a little bit about myself. I have been a church choir director for over 25 years. I started conducting choirs when I was 12 years old. I am a music educator. I have a bachelor's of music education from the University of Missouri, St. Louis. I am a worship team member at my church. I have been a choir member since for the past 35 years, meaning I started singing in choir when I was 3 years old. And I am the owner of Me Music LLC. It's a choir consultation company where what I do is I want to work with choirs. If that's me coming out to be a clinician that's listening to your choirs or adjudicating a choir performance. I offer voice lessons, everything about choir and singing. I want to be that person that can handle that for you. So that is who Maria A. Ellis is, okay? The first thing we want to talk about is what we want to do with this session and what you want to do with your choirs. We want to encourage, we want to enthuse, and we want to educate. During this time of COVID-19, the pandemic, and everything that's going on in life right now, it can be hard to stay encouraged and enthused because there's a lot going on. But because we are people who love music, and again, because this is being a church choir session, we love God. You can always stay encouraged and stay enthused, and you can also educate your members during this time of pandemic. So here we go with our slides regarding how we're going to keep our choirs encouraged, enthused, and educated. So this is what we know about singing in COVID-19. We know that COVID-19 is a global pandemic. It's all around the world. We know that the virus is highly infectious, that it's airborne. We know that singing may contribute to the transmission of COVID due to the aerosols. And we know that experts are recommending that there is 15 to 20 feet distance between singers. Now, normal churches, you probably don't have 15 to 20 feet that you can put everybody out doing your choir stand. So With churches opening back up, I've seen lots of churches who have just been using their team or just using the instrumentalists, but not using the full choir. And that's because the experts have told us, and the CDC has warned that singing may not be as safe as it was before the virus, which happens. So we have to figure out how we still can have our choirs rehearsing. Choir, as we know it, has changed. It's not the same. I mean, the world has changed. Like I said, we're in a pandemic where you can't have 35, 45 voice choirs in one space. It's not possible to do it right now. So we have to change how we think about choir. Choir isn't over. We just have to change how we think about choir. The scripture says, how shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Well, we're in a strange land because none of us have dealt with a pandemic in our lifetime before. So that doesn't mean choir stops. It means we just get creative with how we do choir. And I'm going to show you a few ways of how you can do that. So the one thing you want to do with choir rehearsal is keep your rehearsal time. If your choir normally rehearses on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, then you want to keep your choir rehearsal at that same time, Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And you can choose to do that via Zoom or Google Meets or Microsoft Teams or any other softwares that you may have. And I'll go through some of those on this recording as well. So keep your rehearsal and then encourage your choir members to get on your live or whatever stream that you're using to get on and be prepared for rehearsal like they would for a normal rehearsal. We've been in pandemic since March, so that's roughly about 2.5 months we've been in pandemic. But before COVID-19, people were used to being scheduled at rehearsal at a certain time. I know for my church choir, we have rehearsal Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. Thursday nights at 7 o'clock, I am used to being at my church getting ready for rehearsal. That hasn't changed. My mindset hasn't changed. So keep your rehearsal time, whatever it is. You also want to make sure that you have an agenda each week, that you still learning new material, and that you're planning for the time when you can sing together. For this session, I want to really stick with the agenda because I'm not sure if people have been rehearsing or if they have not. Let me know in the comments if you're rehearsing or not. I'm checking the comments as we're talking. But if you're still having rehearsal, let me know. If you're not having rehearsal, let me know. But talk to me in the comments so I can answer questions and things like that that may come up. All right? So we want to keep our rehearsal time, have an agenda. So here's a recipe for a good rehearsal via Zoom, via in-person, via whatever the means is that you're going to have rehearsal. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan. Things are different, and people's time is very, very valuable. So if you are coming on Zoom, you say, hey, Sister Ellis, we're going to have a rehearsal at 7 o'clock on Zoom, and we spend the first 10 minutes with waiting on you to figure out what you're going to do in that rehearsal, I am already out of the conversation. I do not want to be at a rehearsal. I'm already bored. So have a plan. The one way you can plan is instrumentalist, meaning your organ player, keyboard player, drummer, whatnot, your choir director, and your section leaders should meet in person or via Zoom or one of the other meeting areas and set the agenda for the rehearsal. Now you may notice I'm not saying musicians, and the reason why is because we're all musicians. Whether you play an instrument or you sing, you are a musician. So I want to make sure that I'm clear that instrumentalist includes everybody who plays something except for tambourine, even though us tambourine players, we are instrumentalists as well. But like your organ player, your keyboard player, your drum, your bass player, you want to have a meeting with that person, whoever the choir director is, if you have a separate choir director, and your section leaders if you have separate section leaders, okay? You want to have a meeting with all those people. If you choose to meet in person, it's recommended that you wear a mask. But what you want to do is you want to formulate your rehearsal for what you're going to do when you actually meet with the choir. So if I know that on this day I'm going to sing He Has Done Marvelous, then I want to make sure that everybody is in place for that song, meaning all three of my sections or four sections if you have a bass section. All of us are in the room in that place, we're distanced out. If it's only 4 singers, let's say you have soprano, alto, tenor, bass. If there's only 4 singers, you all can distance out. If you have microphones, you can have your own microphone that you disinfect before and after to keep everything safe. And you just want to run through your rehearsal. You want to sing through the entire song, whatever that song may be, and you want to plan to rehearse that song with the choir. You also want to work out any transitions, and you want to work out any problem spots, because if there's a problem for you, then there's going to be a problem during the rehearsal. So you want to make during the rehearsal with your choir, sorry. So you want to make sure that you are working all of those rehearsal spots and problem spots out. One way you can do that is if you are a section leader. Let's say you're at a small church and you really don't know, you don't have a section leader, or you really don't know how to teach parts and things like that. You can contact somebody and say, hey, can you help me with the parts of that song? You can contact me. You can go to my website at girlconductor.com. You can contact me and say, hey, Maria, I'm working on He Has Done Marvelous. I don't really know how to teach parts. I need assistance with that. Contact somebody. I hate to say it's a blessing, but one of the blessings about COVID-19 and us being in the pandemic is we have time. So a lot of people are still quarantining or social distancing and not being out in public as much as they used to. So there's time. And with time, you may be able to get people to help you when they can. So find somebody that can help you with your parts. And you want to make sure that those parts are clear, that the choir section leader, whoever, can sing that part all the way through, because they're going to be using that to work on the rehearsal. You also want to make sure that you record. So if you have a smartphone, any type of smartphone, Apple, Android, any type of smartphone, you should have on your smartphone a voice memo or a voice recorder app. And if you don't have one, you can download an app. You want to record your rehearsal on that voice memo, because that's what you're going to use to send out to your choir members, okay? So you want to record an instrumental track with just the music so that the choir member can hear exactly where they come in at, and you can talk them through that so they can hear where they come in at, they can hear what the music can do, and they can sing along. And then you also want to record a track with the instrumentals and with the section leader for each part. So if I'm teaching He Has Done Marvelous, then on one track I want to have just the piano, drums, guitar, whatever else I may have. One track with just that, and then the other part with them playing with me and I'm singing along. That way, when I send that track out to my choir members, they can hear that. They can hear me singing, and they can sing along with me. The way you send those tracks out is you want to use it through an email. You can email those tracks out. So I have an Apple device, and the recording app that I have, it lets me file share immediately to my email address, and I can take that and then I can just send that off to my choir members. So you can send those tracks off. I would do it 3 to 5 days prior to rehearsal, because you want to give your choir members time to actually rehearse the music. So again, you want to go ahead and have your instrumentalists and your section leaders. It should be no more than like 4 people if that's how you work, but it shouldn't be the entire choir. Rehearse, find all the problem spots. And whatever you have problems with, be able to circle those props or remember those props, because if you as the section leader have a problem with it, the choir more than likely is going to have that same issue. So prepare for that problem in advance. Once you have that all worked out, use your smartphone, Apple, Android, to record the instrumental track, and then record a voice and instrumental track for each section. So if you have soprano, alto, tenor, bass, that means you should have 5 tracks: the instrumental, the soprano track, the alto track, the tenor track, and the bass track. You then want to send those tracks to your choir. You want to upload those so they can be sent out to your choir members 3 to 5 days prior to your rehearsal. If you have questions about how to email a track, or if you don't know how to upload it, if you put that in the comments, I can help you with that. I won't do it on the call, but I can help you with that. I can email you, or we can chat later about that, and I can help you with how to upload the tracks and email them, and how to put them in a Google Drive or whatever type of, or put them on the cloud or whatever you use. I can help you with all of that, okay? All right. Remember, a choir rehearsal with no plan or agenda is a waste of your choir members' time. So, as I told you earlier, we may have more time because we're not actually going into the church to rehearse. But the one thing I do not want you to do is waste somebody's time. Don't waste that time. Have a plan, have an agenda, because you're going to be on a Zoom. And while I'm sitting on Zoom, I can be distracted by whatever else is going on in my background. And if you're spending 15 minutes trying to pull up whatever your track is, you've wasted 15 minutes of my time, and I'm not going to be as engaged in your rehearsal as I could be. Does that make sense? Okay, so we'll keep going. Do not waste time. All right, so the next thing you want to do is you want to set an expectation for the rehearsal. You want your choir members to be engaged, and you want to tell them, look, we are, especially if you're somebody who has not been rehearsing, you want to say, we have something new going on. Your choir members going to be like, oh, wait, new? What y'all got new? What's going on? They're already intrigued, especially if you haven't been rehearsing for the last 8 weeks or whatever COVID shut down everything. They're expecting something from you. So you want to come in with an expectation for your rehearsal. You want to encourage your choir members to listen and learn their parts prior to rehearsal. Encourage them. Say, you know what? I know this is new. Sister Wendell, I know this new. You may not be the best at technology right now, but I know you can do this. I know that you are super smart. You are one of the most intelligent people that I know. I know that you always come to choir rehearsal and you do your best. So I want you to try it. And if you need help, I want you to call me and I'm going to be right there to help you through it. So you want to encourage all of your choir members to listen in advance and learn their parts prior to rehearsal. Number one, it'll make your rehearsal flow a little bit easier. And number two, you've already given them an assignment and you want to hold them responsible to what the assignment is. Once you get everybody on Zoom, you want to set the agenda for the rehearsal. So if the rehearsal is only 1 hour long, you want to say, okay, so here's our agenda for the rehearsal. We're going to start with a prayer by Sister Wendell, and then Deacon Dorr, he's going to sing a song for us, and then we're going to have we're going to break off into sectionals. We'll do sectionals for this amount of time. We'll come back. We'll have a meeting about how we can rehearse, what can we do forward. If your pastor wants to jump in, they can have a time. If the worship and arts pastor wants to jump in, they can have a little section. But you want to set the agenda so people know exactly what this rehearsal is going to be. You also want to make sure that this rehearsal is not too long. I know as a teacher, that's another hat that I wear, I know if I teach any concept or try to have anything over an hour without some type of break, I know my students are all over. If you just think about your regular choir rehearsal, if you teach choir rehearsal and you go an hour or an hour and 15 minutes without some type of break, some type of pause, people start getting antsy. Or you notice that people start looking down at their phones, or they start scratching or whatnot because they're getting antsy. They need something to do. So you don't want to hold this rehearsal too long. You want to invite your choir members to share a scripture or a song that they have meditated on during the week. Now, this is not for every single choir member. You want to say, okay, guys, since we're doing these online rehearsals, if you have a scripture or a song that you want to share, email me in advance so I can put you on the agenda. Now, make sure you email me in advance so I can put you on the agenda. I'm going to say that one more time. Email me, call me, text me in advance so I can put you on the agenda. Because if not, what you'll have is testimony service during the time that you are supposed to have choir rehearsal. And you don't want that to happen. You only have an hour or however long your rehearsal is. But if my rehearsal is only an hour long, I can't spend 20 minutes letting everybody testify or sing a song or give a scripture during my rehearsal time. One person. We only need one. Everybody else, you can email me and we can get you a slot in the upcoming weeks until we get back to our actual rehearsal time. Then after that, you want to start a warm up with your choir. All right. So just like you warm up any muscle, you warm up your voice. Your voice is a muscle. You stretch, You breathe, you warm them up, okay? And I'm going to take you through a warm up that we can do on the call. And that way you can kind of see how I can help warm you up. So, says lack of a proper vocal warm-up can limit my singing range. And even though we're in COVID and we're not singing in the same space, you still want to make sure that your choir, that they're still practicing good technique, good singing technique, proper posture while they're practicing, while they're singing. And you also want to make sure that they're practicing the proper breathing. If those are things that your choir is not used to doing, that's not a problem. This time right now, while we're not able to sing as a full choir, it's time for us to press the reset button on choir and just reset. If warm up and stretches and things of something you haven't been doing, practice it now. And that way, when you go back to having your regular choir rehearsals, they can start doing it. Doing it at that time. Okay. All right. So take a moment before I move forward. Click like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Take your time right now. Do it before I move on. Click like and subscribe. That way you can keep up when we have these sessions in these series. And whenever I go live, you'll be the first to know. And you want to know that. Because I want to be here for you all and make sure that you're having the information that you need. All right? All right. Did you like or subscribe? Did you? Okay. All right. I appreciate everybody who's liking and subscribing. And thank you all again for watching this video. I really appreciate that. All right. So we warm up. I noticed 6 steps, but one exercise I took off because we couldn't do it while we were on the call. So I took it off. So I'm only going to show you 5. So the first thing you want to do is warm the body. And they can do this on Zoom. On Zoom. You can stretch your arms, stretch it across, up and across. You're pulling it about. And what you're doing is you're trying to relieve tension. I want to relieve tension in my fingers. I want to relieve tension in my shoulders. So I'll do some shoulder rolls. I want to relieve tension in my neck. So I'll make sure that there's no tension in my neck. I'll work this out. Anything that can cause tension. And you notice I'm sitting in a chair. So if you're out there, you could be doing this with me. Come on. Let's stretch and let's warm up that body. Your shoulders up. You want to stretch your arms. You don't want to sing with tension in your body, and that's another session that I can do at a later date. But you don't want any tension. Any tension in your body is tension on the voice, and you don't want that. You want to practice breathing. So that's taking a deep breath in and exhaling out. And even though you're sitting, if you put your feet flat on the floor, you can create the great singer's posture, which I know you use. If you don't, that means that your shoulders are down. Your feet are on the ground. Your knees are bent because you're sitting. Your back is straight. You don't want to sing hunched over. That adds extra tension. You don't want tension. So your back is straight. To balance your weight, your arms are free. I'm not sitting crossed up like that. I'm not doing any of that. I'm sitting so I can get a good breath. All right. And I can breathe in. I can breathe out. And I want to breathe all the way down. I want to expand my diaphragm. And if these are things that you don't know how to do, that's fine. We're resetting. So if you don't know how to do it, you can just say, Maria, I don't know what you're talking about, girl. And I can say, okay. And then I can teach you how to do these things on another session, okay? Because I really want to be respectful and keep this to an hour. So after you breathe in and out, then you want to have that breath connection where you're making some silly sounds. So that could be so that breathing in and out. I'll warm it up my higher register. Or it could be a fry tone where I'm working on my lower register. Working all of those different registers. And you can do all of this as many as you want or not want to do on your rehearsal. You want to work on resonance. So that's I'm going to use my fingers like this. Hung, and that's right here. Hunga. So I want to make sure that I'm relaxing all of this. Hunga. Making sure that you're doing that, and then listening. So you may sing some things high, and what you have to notice is, hold on. Sorry. What you want to notice is your choir should be doing these things with you. They should all be on mute. Remember, Everybody is on mute. None of this works if you can hear everybody, because the internet lag is going to be different and you'll be hearing all kind of craziness. So keep everybody on mute. As the owner of the Zoom, whoever has the Zoom call, you have the power to mute all. If you haven't used that function yet, you have the power to mute all. So mute everybody. And that way you can be singing and doing everything, and everybody can be doing it with you. As a choir director or a minister of music or whoever you are, you could be not listening, but you could be watching. I'm sorry. You can watch and see that they're doing it with you, and you just run the rehearsal. So you sing some things high, do re mi fa sol la ti do, and then you go back low, do ti la sol fa mi re do. I'll do it again because my voice broke. Hold on. Do ti la sol fa mi re do. So up and down the scale, up and down the scale. And if you don't know the solfege, I'm using solfege. If you don't know that, that's not a problem. I can give you resources and things that you can do to how to do that. I'm here to help you. I love choir. I love everything about choir, everything about singing, and whatever I can do to assist you, like I am 100% willing to do that for you. You can register at girlconductor.com and say, Maria, we appreciate this lesson, but we really need help with this or with that. And I can create a whole workshop for your choir, and we can go and do that. So that's how we warm up the body, so you can get everybody warmed up. All right. Now it's time for our actual rehearsal. So in Zoom, there are functions where you can use breakout rooms. So whoever is controlling the Zoom section, whoever is controlling the Zoom, you have, and I don't think this is a paid, I don't think you have to pay for this function. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I didn't check that before we started. I probably should have checked that. I'm sorry. But there is a function in Zoom, and if somebody knows, put it in the comments, like if we need to, if that's a function that you have to pay for or not. I pay for Zoom. I think I pay like $14.99 a month or something like that. But you can create breakout rooms in Zoom. And you can break out by voice part. So sopranos can have a room, altos, tenors, and bass if you have a bass section. So you, the owner of the Zoom, you set that up and you break out into sections for everybody. Once you do that, then you can start the voice part. My voice is starting, so I'm going to take a drink. Sorry. Thank you. Here we go. I was so excited, y'all. I've been singing this whole rehearsal. Now my voice is breaking. I'm sorry. But anyway, so use the Zoom breakout rooms to separate the voice parts. Your section leaders run those rooms. And that's why we had section leader rehearsal in advance, so the section leaders can know exactly what we're doing, every transition, and they can use that to teach the choir. Now, if you've been directing a choir at any time, you know that not everybody is going to listen to their music. We want everybody to, but we know that that doesn't happen. Some people don't do it. So you have to be prepared to teach. And somebody could say, well, how can we teach if we can't all sing together? I'll tell you how. Section leader is going to sing through the song. If somebody has a question, they're going to type it in the chat. So you can say, Maria, you did a great job, but you did that part on Marvelous when you said, marvelous, marvelous, marvelous things. Did you say that 3 times or do you say that 4 times? And so I'm watching the chat and I said, okay, Sister Wendell, we say that 4 times, and then I demonstrate that for you, and then we sing through it. To make sure that people are following you, though, the section leader can sing and unmute one person and let them sing the next line. So what that means is if I'm singing, he has done marvelous, then I can say, all right, Sister Dora or Deacon Dora, you sing the next line. And he was saying, he has done marvelous, or whatever the next line is, a song. But that way, you're keeping the people with you. You're keeping them engaged. And because they don't know who you're going to call on next, they're following along because they don't want to mess up. People don't want to mess up. They don't want to mess up. So you can do exercises like that to keep them singing. And there's not a lot of lag between just the 2 people. So it's not like it's like you sing and then unless they just have an internet issue. It's not that much of a lag for them to sing one line and then they sing the next line. What's bad is when we all try to sing together. So if we all doing it together, then that's when it gets weird. But if it's just one-on-one, you singing and I sing, it's not that bad of a lag. All right. So after that is over, after you've went through your songs or whatever you're rehearsing, you bring everybody back together. Now remember, if you haven't been rehearsing during the pandemic, this will be a new experience for your members. My choir directors, my section leaders, my instrumentalists, whoever is leading, stay positive. If Sister Keyfob, I'm trying to use names so I don't use people regular names, but if Sister Keyfob is new to technology, like, stay positive and stay encouraging. People really want to learn, unless they just tell you, look, I don't want to do it. And you have people like that as well. But most people, they really do want to learn. So you have to stay positive and not be frustrated during a rehearsal experience. If you are getting frustrated, then you have to put on your actress or actor face and hold it until you get off the call, and then go be whatever you need to be on that time. But you need to stay positive during the whole rehearsal experience. So whatever that is, and you also got to think about it. Zoom and using computer technology in this way was new to you when we first started hitting the pandemic. I'm not sure how many of us was using Zoom before COVID-19. I know it's not something I was doing. So keep that in mind. If it was something that you had to learn, give the people the same grace so they can have the power to learn it too. Okay? All right? Stay positive, keep smiling, stay happy, and that'll encourage them to keep going with it. All right? Here we go. So, our rehearsal sectional is over. And what will happen in those breakout rooms is that there'll be a timer that pops up. There's a timer on the screen the whole time you're in your sectional. There's a timer. And that timer basically counts down how long your rehearsal, how long you got into this room. So I think once it gets around, I think it's about the minute mark, it'll say there'll be a big card that'll appear on the screen that'll say, this room is going to shut down in 1 minute. You can leave the room now. And they can click the button to leave. I would encourage you to have a plan before you get to rehearsal so you can say, okay, guys, the button is going to count us down in 1 minute. Do not click yet. Wait till I dismiss you, per se. Wait till I dismiss you and then click to go to the next room or whatnot. If not, you could be in the middle of talking and somebody will leave your room and they'll miss your final, your last instructions or whatnot, whatever you was going to get. So have a plan for that. Know that there's going to be a timer that's going to appear in the upper right-hand corner. There's a timer that's going to tell you, it's going to count down. Then once you get down to about a minute, there's a card that'll be placed on the screen that'll say this room is about to close. You want to have an instruction in plan, a plan of instruction. There you go. You want to have a plan of instruction for your people to let them know if they're supposed to click that button to leave the room or if they're supposed to wait. By the end of that minute, that room is going to automatically move you back to the big room. So if you don't do anything, it's going to automatically transfer you out. So everybody's going to be taken out the room. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope this is all makes sense. And if you have other like Zoom questions or whatnot, again, just email me. Just email me and I can help you with that. I see in the chat somebody said breakout rooms are an added fee. Thank you for whoever told me that. Thank you for saying that. So breakout rooms are an added fee. I can look into that, or you can look into that in Zoom and see how to do it. But it's a wonderful feature to have. Our church, we had a game night not too long ago, and we used 4 rooms to break everybody out, and we had 4 different games going on at the same time. So the breakout rooms are great. All right, here we go. So do you have any questions? I'm going to grab my iPad and answer questions for you. And if you have a question, just put it on here and I can answer it for you. All right, somebody said that, I don't remember, okay, this is April. I don't remember seeing a timer in the top right. We were surprised when the 1 minute countdown began. So there is a timer that will appear on the screen at some point. There's a timer that'll show you. And sometimes, depending on what your view is, sometimes you're not able to see stuff because of the view. So if you have like a speakers only view, or if you're viewing like 40 people at one time, sometimes you can't see the functions, but there is a timer that'll count you down. All right, so now I'm taking questions. If you have a question, let me know. I will take it from you. I appreciate all who liked and subscribed. And then if you didn't have a chance to do that, then we can do that. Oh, here we go. Are there certain resonant sounds or silly sounds that are non-conducive for the vocal cords? Okay, Mr. Armstrong, that's a wonderful question. I think there are things that you can do to your vocal cords that can be more damaging, but as long as it's not something that's like what I just did this, that's not good for me to do for my vocal cords. So I really try not to do that. That's because my throat is dry and I probably should take another drink of water, which I will do right now. But doing things that's like really harsh or screaming or yelling, that's not conducive for the vocal cords. But another thing that we do that we may not be aware that we do is how we sing. If you do a lot of singing from right here in your throat and you're not singing from your full diaphragm, that's not conducive for your vocal cords. That's why sometimes if Sister Lamp has been singing Jesus Can Work It Out for 20 minutes like they do in my church, she may leave hoarse. And she's hoarse because she may have been singing from her throat the whole time instead of singing from her diaphragm. That's another lesson that I can teach you on another day. But I can definitely teach you how to sing and how to implore all of your diaphragm and your rib cage and all of those things, how to sing from that area, which is healthier singing and allow you to sing longer. So you can sing Jesus Can Work It Out for 20 minutes and keep going. All right, what could we be doing? What could they be doing to keep their voices in shape? Okay, so things you can do. Number one, hydrate. Hydrate your voice. Drink a lot of water. Water is healthy, number one, and you should be drinking it anyway. But by drinking water, you're keeping your vocal cords hydrated. You're keeping your body hydrated. So drinking water. If it's a day that you're having rehearsal, if you know that on Thursday nights you have choir rehearsal, I would stay away from a lot of carbonated beverages. So I wouldn't have the soda or the Sprite right before rehearsal. I would start drinking water 2 hours in advance before I'm rehearsing. I was reading a study and it says that your body needs at least 2 to 3 hours to have the water working on your vocal cords before you start singing. So if you take a sip like this, the water I just took, that's not going to help me if I got to go sing for an hour. That's helping me right now because I'm just talking and I won't be talking for an hour. But that's not helping me if I really need to sing for an hour, okay? So you want to make sure that you're drinking a lot of water. You also want to make sure that you're singing. These are some things you could be doing at the house or in the shower. Simple vocalese exercises, which are like... I can do that in any range. Or anything like that. Just singing. Keep singing. Whatever you do, keep singing. Whatever your favorite song is, whatever song is meditating in your spirit, just keep singing. Every day you should take some time to sing. Take some time to pray, to meditate, and sing. Sing. Keep singing. As long as you're singing, you'll be in good shape when it's time for your rehearsal, okay? Let's see. Do we have any other questions? All right. Give me your thoughts about singing as a choir publicly during this time with social distancing. Okay. So, as a music educator, I've sat through every session that I can find about singing. So the National Association for Teachers Singing, the American Choral Directors Association, the Barbershop Harmony Association, they had sessions about how do we sing during this time of COVID. And the first time they did the call, it was a little discouraging because they basically said you can't sing because of the virus and aerosols and it not being safe and things of that nature. But they did come back and give us some healthier ways to keep singing. So one thing that I suggest, if you have to sing in your church with your praise team, make sure that there's distance. The recommendation is at least 15 to 20 feet because of how the aerosols spread. They said it's not like just regular talking. Your aerosols spread. So if you don't believe that, get your hymn book. Open it up and sing. And if you look down, you'll see some droplets. You have expelled some stuff on that hymn book. So you want to, or if you remember standing in choir and that person that's spitting on the back of your neck, you don't want that. You don't want any of that happening during your rehearsal. So you want to make sure that you have at least 6 feet and that you have 15 to 20 feet of distance. I have the privilege of conducting in a big hall where I can spread out all of my singers throughout the hall. But even with that, I'm not putting anybody directly in front of another person or directly behind another person because I want to make sure that we're being safe. If you can have rehearsals outside, that's even better. But there was a recommendation that you want to have it opposite of the way that the wind is blowing. So if you want to rehearse outside while it's nice outside, space it out, make sure nobody's directly in front of each other, and have a rehearsal outside. Now, I want to make sure that everybody is aware of this. Number one, Maria is not a scientist, virologist. She don't work for the CDC. Maria is just a choir director who loves what she's doing, and she watches a lot of calls and sits in on a lot of Zoom calls and things like that. But follow all of the standards that are out there. But if you want to sing in public, right now, since it's nice outside, you can space yourselves out and have your rehearsals that way outside. Okay? I hope that answers the question. All right, here's another question. Long question, all right. Since there's a lag between Google Meets, Zoom, Microsoft Meets, do you recommend live instrumentation? In addition, how can we incorporate a Zoom choir into a service? That's a great question. No, I do not recommend anything live unless the choir director is in the, or whoever's running their rehearsal is in the room with that musician. It can't be I'm over here in this room and then somebody else is in another house and they playing the instrumentation, because there will be a lag. But if you and the choir, if the instrumentalist and the choir director want to come together and maybe have choir rehearsal from the church, like they're in the church and everybody else is at home, then you can do that because there's no lag between the instrumentalist and the vocalist. So that's one way you can do it. I've seen churches who have screens. Like if your church normally has a screen and you want to do the Zoom choir, the virtual choir, if you want to do that, I've seen choirs record, like our choir, we just recorded a virtual choir, and they're going to play that, I believe, during one of our Sunday services. Now, let me talk to you about these virtual choirs. Virtual choirs are not done on Zoom. I'll repeat that. Virtual choirs are not done on Zoom. They are using a different software to do that, okay? And then some people are cheating with the virtual choir. And so what they're doing is they're using a song that they've already recorded. Like if your choir has already recorded, He Has Done Marvelous Things, and they have a great recording of that, they will use that recording as what the people are singing to, but have the people still video themselves singing it. So a lot of these choirs will used to be like, oh my God, these voices are incredible, and these people are doing these wonderful virtual choir videos. Some of them are using pre-recorded music. It takes a lot of time to get those videos done. I was talking to a friend of mine who she works with virtual choirs. She said it took her 40 hours to line up everything. So they take time. Virtual choirs take time. You also need, if you want to do a virtual choir, you also need 2 devices. You need one device with a headset so you can hear the song. That way you can stay on with the track. But you need the other device so you can record yourself. So I would need like my laptop and an iPad so I can do both of those. Okay, does that make sense? And if virtual choirs is something that you want to do, like I can do a session about that, and we can bring on some specialists of how to do that and what they're doing and how much that costs to do it and things and what software is needed. We can have that session. That's not a problem. But that's how the Zoom rehearsals work. It's not done via Zoom. Okay. Sorry, it's not. All right. I have allergies. I tend to clear my throat a lot. Is that harmful? Sometimes there's congestion, so I may try a little harder. Yes, that's harmful. If you constantly clear your throat a lot, your vocal cords are really, really thin. It's like 2 pieces of wet tissue paper. That's thin. They're really, really thin. So every time you do that, or every time you do that, you're causing them to rub against each other really hard, causing friction, which can end up with you having like nodules and things like that. If you're congested a lot, may I recommend a Ricola cough drop, not necessarily a Hall's cough drop, but I've talked to a few of my friends who teach voice like for a living. They recommend Ricola cough drops. They recommend ginger teas. You can try that. Getting in the shower or getting in some steam and letting that like steam out that congestion. You can try that before rehearsal. Drinking water would assist with that. But the constant you don't want to do that. That's not bad for your vocal health. So lots of water, lots of ginger. There's a concoction that my teacher makes, my voice teacher, because I still take voice lessons as well. So there's a concoction that my voice teacher makes that has ginger in it, and it's really a hot. It's like spicy, but when I drink it, it helps kind of clear me out. And I can get that, or have her come on and tell you all about it, what she's using to help keep the voice clear. Okay. All right, here we go. Next question. Do you recommend singing with face mask on? Yes and no. If you have a mask that's really breathable, meaning it's not a harsh material on your face, you may be able to get away with it. I have a mask. Girl Conductor brand. I have a mask that I sell, but it's really breathable. It's not like something that's really harsh on my face. So, and then also that mask can pass what they call it, the candle test, where like if you try to blow through your mask and if the flame goes out, that mask passes that test. So if you have to sing with a mask, I recommend it. I personally don't like the mask. I don't know if I'm like borderline claustrophobic. I don't know. I just don't like that on my face all the time. So if I had to do it, I would. But you have to do whatever you feel is safe. If you do want to sing through a mask, though, get one that's breathable, that's still safe. Okay? Something that you can easily talk and sing through that's safe. You want to make sure you have something that's safe. Okay? That makes sense? I hope so. All right. So I think we got more questions coming. I really appreciate everybody jumping on. And if you haven't, take the time now to like and subscribe. All right. I got a question. Do you help people who are deaf? I am not trained in that field. I know some people who are, and I can recommend them to you. I'm not trained in that, and so I wouldn't want to to present myself as a person who could assist with that, as it's not something I'm trained in. But there are specialists who definitely know how to work with people who are deaf, who still want to sing or be a part of music and things of that nature. So I can recommend people who I know. If you have any questions, here's something you can do right now. If you have any questions after this call is over, because maybe you don't want to put one in the chat, you can go to www.girlconductor.com and you can sign up, register for my list, and you can ask me questions on there as well. Okay. So I have another question that's coming through. We have about 12 more minutes on this call. So if you have other questions, please feel free to send them through. All right. People who are tone deaf. All right. So people who are tone deaf, we deal with them just like we do in normal rehearsal. If they was tone deaf before COVID, they are tone deaf after COVID. And what you may want to do is you may want to give them some one-on-one attention, which you can do over the phone. Or via a private Zoom session where like I call Sister Song and I say, okay, Sister Song, we're going to work with you, and you can play up and down the scale and try to help her to find, or help him, whoever, help them find their notes and work with them on their tone and things of that nature. Anybody can sing. I don't think there's anybody in the world who can't sing. I think you just have to meet the people where they are and then work with them in the scope that they have. So if you only can sing from C to E, if you only got those that range C4 to E4. If that's all you got, then that's what I'm working with. And sometimes you sing in those places, and when we hit F, if you don't have F, then you don't sing that. You just celebrate us, and you keep going. That's what I would do in a normal choir rehearsal when I'm working with my students, because I conduct an elementary choir and a high school choir. If I'm working with one of them, especially my boys, when they're starting the voice change, I'm not pushing them to do any other notes that they don't have. If they only have 3 notes, then when I get to those 3, I need you to be powerful and sing those 3. And then when you get some more notes, or when your voice changes, or when it drops, then we can work on getting the rest of them. Okay, so that's how you work with somebody who's tone deaf. All right. Have you presented a session at GMEA in the past? No, I have not. I am from Missouri. I've presented at the Missouri Choral Directors Association, as well as the Missouri Music Educators Association. I've also presented at the National American Choral Directors Association Children's Choirs Conference this past January. So I've not presented at GMEA. Okay, so 6:51, I want to tell you all about the next session. And one thing I want you to know, this is my first time using YouTube to go live. So my channel will be developing. Please, 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 like and subscribe. Later on this week, I'll post some warm-up videos. And I'll post a new warm-up video every week. So every week I'll have a new warm-up for you that you can use with your choirs. I think there's currently 4 warm-ups that's already on my channel that you can use. But there will be new warm-ups every week, and I'll post them on all of my social media as well. And I'm taking suggestions. Please don't be mean. Like I said, this is my first time, so don't be mean. But if you have ways that you say, Maria, you can do this better, or Maria, you was too dark, or you was too light, or your voice went in and out, let me know, because this channel is improving. I'm working with some very, very, very wonderful people who are assisting me with learning this technology. But my heart was, I wanted to reach out to choirs, especially church choirs, who may not have the huge budget for the big instrumentalists and things like that, but they still want to keep choir. Like I really want to be a blessing to you all and offer sessions and things of that nature. So this session is a series. So today we went through, just to recap what we went through today. Today we went through how to actually have the Zoom rehearsal. Next week I want to talk about planning the rehearsal and planning for the year. So that's another thing that you could be doing during this time, is planning. You know that when we get back, Christmas is still coming. Thanksgiving is coming. If you do some type of back to school something, that's coming, a back to school revival, something like that. You know that in January you have, if you do a Martin Luther King service, you have that. If your church participates in consecration, you have that. Love Sunday for Valentine's Day. Those are all things that you can plan for. And I've created a planner that you can use to kind of help get you through the year of things that you can ways that you can plan. That'll be on my website later on this week at girlconductor.com, so you can download that planner. That'll help you out. But also, I want to talk to you about planning your service. So when we come back, you want to come back in order. You don't want to come back with bumps, some bumps that you may have had. I know one church that I was working with, they what they were doing is they were like planning on Sunday morning in front of everybody of what they were going to sing, and that looks so unprofessional. So you should have a notebook or some type of something where you've already planned Sunday, June 8th. I think Sunday is the 8th, or maybe the 7th. So Sunday, June 7th, we're singing for praise and worship. I'm just throwing out songs. Jesus is Real. Here I Am to Worship, and Hallelujah, Salvation and Glory. There you go, Dr. LaValle. I got you on there. So we're singing those songs for praise and worship. It's in the key of ... and this person is leading praise and worship. So that should already be laid out. Then the choir, if the choir normally sings 2 songs, the choir is going to sing this song. It's in this key. It's directed by this person. And that's already laid out. And then if there's an altar call song or a sermonic song, like have all that laid out so that you have a plan. And that way you don't waste time. It bothers me when we call for the choir, then the choir wastes my time trying to figure out what they're getting ready to sing. Let's be better. Let's be better after COVID. So I'll walk you through how to plan through that. I also want to do a session on worship music. Because what are we singing for worship music? Are we all singing all man-to-man songs? Meaning, is your whole worship experience, I don't know what you come to do, I come to clap my hands, which is great. But did we acknowledge God in that song? It's a great song. I love the song. But did we say anything to God during that song? Is it a man-to-God song? Jesus, I love you. Did we sing all songs that was just man to God? Or did we actually hear God speak? God to man songs. If you will only trust me. That's God singing to man. So I have a worship expert that I want to bring on. He's currently working on his doctorate in worship music. So I want to bring him on and we're going to do that worship set with you all. And then whatever else that you feel is necessary. If you're saying, Maria, our choir needs more vocal sessions. We need you to really go through how to properly take that breath and how to engage our diaphragm and you talked about floating ribs and singing posture. We don't know anything about that. Like, let me know. You can let me know and I can create sessions around that for you. All right. Again, thank you all so much for logging into this session. If you missed anything, this video will be posted live right here on this YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Click the bell, like and subscribe. But also know that, again, this channel is in work. So if there's something that you said, Maria, you can improve on, please be nice. Be nice and just put it in the comment. No, don't put it in the comments. Email me. You can email me at info, at girlconductor.com. That is info at girlconductor.com. Please make sure that you are practicing safe social distancing, that you all are being safe, that you're being well, that you know that God has the final say in all that we're doing, and He's going to honor anybody who's taking this time to reset and present a better work or a better sacrifice for Him. He's going to honor that, and He'll bless your house. So whatever we can do, make sure you like and subscribe. Let me know. And thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. I will see you all next week. Next week at 6 o'clock, we're doing it again. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All of my pages are at Girl Conductor. That's GIRLCONDUCTOR. I almost forgot how to spell it. That's what live will do to you. But make sure you follow me on my social medias, and I'll be posting a warm-up later on this week. So make sure you check me out so you can get that done, all right? Thank you all so much for your time. You have a wonderful day. Bye.